Welcome to First Down Sports. I'm your host, Ray Dunn. Sitting with me tonight, our producer, co-host, Andy Jardine.
Yo, how's it going, Ray?
Andy has produced this entire show, folks. So if this goes astray, and it's Andy's fault. Okay?
Right.
Andy's fault.
You guys get to watch the production magic happen on the fly here.
There you go. We are going to be talking a little football tonight. Now, we are missing two huge members of our team. Chris was unable to make it tonight. We have a big mock draft special coming up next week, and we've decided to hold off from announcing our mock drafts tonight because Chris is under the weather. So next week, make sure you tune in a week before the draft. We'll be releasing our individual mock drafts next week. And keep in mind, we have something on the line for the person that comes last place. How's that work, Andy? How's that work?
So, rumor is that one of us is not willing to eat something spicy that's going to impact their performance on the show. So the way that this is going to work is if Ray wins this entire competition, if Ray wins, then Chris and Andy both have to eat hot wings, hot chili, hot curry, something. We're going to figure that out.
Hot something.
We're going to eat it right on the show and then try to actually do a show after we've eaten it. If Chris or Andy win, then, then the either Chris or Andy has to do the hot punishment. And we're going to cook up something for Ray. Not cook literally, but figuratively for Ray. It's probably going to include wearing something embarrassing like a Patriots jersey or something.
I am a big wimp when it comes to food.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, I used to say this all the time. When it came to, the TV show Survivor?
Yeah.
Big Brother?
Yeah.
I would have won those competitions hands down. Hands down, I would have won those things. But there's no way if my team lost, I could have went through the eating insects and
I was
all
gonna ask
that
you
kind
that.
I for $1 million,
Right.
I'm not doing it.
So I understand like you can't do the spicy stuff and it bothers your stomach and everything like that, but you couldn't man up and eat like an inchworm or a beetle.
No. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
You could
not
give,
for $1 million.
Not for $1 million. I'm not doing it.
That's shocking.
You will not see me venture down that road, but I will tell you that I would have won those game shows. There's no question.
I want to gauge your threshold. I have to ask.
Okay.
All right. One of Phil's treats. Could you handle a dog treat?
I could do a dog treat.
You could do a dog treat.
It'd be rough, but I could.
But you could do that.
I could do that.
We gave you a beer to wash it down with. You could pull that off.
You give me a Moose Light, I could definitely do that.
Well, we have Moose Light here.
We
have
some
dog
Moose Light.
treats. So you're giving me some ideas.
All right, there you go.
Giving me some ideas. All right.
I want the green ones though, because at least they're vegetable based.
If
right?
they're in the bag labeled Phil's Treats, you can pick any color you want.
Well, Phil, I can promise you one thing: you will be eating very well after the draft. Very well. All right, so let's talk about our sponsors here real quick. Again, you got Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever night. You know what to do. Go out, get yourself some Moose Light. This stuff is scary good.
Scary good.
And I was talking to my good buddy Jack Scary yesterday. We had a great conversation, and I'm hoping that eventually I'm going to see him back out on the football field with us.
Awesome.
He took the year off, and hoping he gets back out. And, of course, if you need hats, shirts, jackets, whatever, you go see our buddies, the Doyles. I saw both Doyles today, Brett and Darcy.
Yeah.
Our football association's looking at ordering new jackets, and Brett's helping me out with that. It was good talking. Darcy and I talked a little bit of the Buffalo Bills this afternoon, so that was kind of neat.
Awesome. I saw one of the Doyles commented on your most recent Snapchat post.
Oh, my Snapchat.
By the way, folks, if actually, you know what? Stay away from Ray's personal Facebook account at all costs because his daughter has introduced him to Snapchat, where he can warp his face into freaky things and alter his voice. it's not been good.
It's not been good. Well, here's the funny thing is I through social media, you always hear like the Buffalo Bills are on Snapchat. NFL players are on Snapchat. So it's something I've always wanted to venture into. I just never understood how it worked. And Nikki took the time to show me how it worked on the weekend. And let's just say I'm a Snapchat genius now.
She had you the moment she said, "Hey, Dad, I can turn your face into 4 Teletubbies." She had you right there, right?
Sign me up for that.
Yeah, that was number 2 on his list of things to do.
There you go.
Listen, I got this isn't even a comment on the Facebook Live post. This is a direct message at me from Hotshot saying, "You guys are killing me. Going live, talking NFL while the Wildcats are playing." Sorry, Adam. We plan these for when we can manage them, and it just works out. I'm sorry. The hockey season will be over soon. Football season will be starting
soon. And not only that, Adam, but we were talking tonight the fact that we're down 2. We should invite a guest to the set, and I brought up Adam Hotshot. And especially now that he's got the Wildcast going on.
The Moncton Wildcast.
The Moncton Wildcast.
At Moncton Wildcast, if you want to look him up, if you want Wildcats news.
So, this kid has, since he's moved, before he even moved out east, he was obviously interested in our podcast right off the bat.
He found us, yep.
And look at this guy. He hasn't even been here yet for 3 months. He's got his own Wildcast podcast.
And if you get a chance, go to his... He's hosting it on something I'm not familiar with. It's something you can tell it's an audio site specifically. Okay. So it doesn't feed into the various podcast providers.
Okay.
But that being said, it seems like a solid service. There's a link in his description in Twitter that you can go and you can look at his most recent episodes. And I listened to him. He asked me for some feedback. Really good.
Yeah.
His first go at this was 1,000 times better than my first go at this.
Yeah.
1,002 times better than your first go at this. No, I'm kidding. I'm giving you a hard time. But really good. Sound effects, sets up his segments really well, transitions to his next topic with a sounder.
Yeah.
Was doing some good stuff.
That's good. That's great. Listen, one of the things that when you're starting your own podcast, it's you have to be comfortable with technology, the soundboard, sounds, music, the whole. I have no experience with that stuff, so I it's been a learning as it goes, and just now I've become an expert on sound. But that being said, it took a long time to get there.
I'm surprised that one stopped at 1.
I know.
Sometimes he presses these buttons and it just goes on repeat.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to stop it. We have to pull the plug.
It's because of my fat fingers. Fat fingers.
All
right. And of course, we don't have our sound guy Nick here tonight, so you can see the soundboard. Andy and I are running the whole thing here tonight. So it's got 1 or 2 ways of going, and it could go up or go down depending on how we do here.
Yeah, we may or may not have hit wing night at the casino before we came here, so we don't know. But on a regular night, with the camera where it is right now, you guys would be looking at the back of Chris's head.
That's right.
Chris is also not here. He fell victim to another illness.
Yeah.
That gets brought to the house by the youngins, I'm thinking. Maybe not. Could have been something else.
Yeah.
But he's coughing up a lung. He wouldn't be able to talk. He'd be doing a better job chatting with the chat than me right now, but otherwise, he's not doing good.
And while we talk about my brother Nick real quick, we do got to bring up Done Right Sauce.
Yep.
Right? Andy, you want to give your line?
If your kitchen sucks, you can quit your bitching. You can fix your kitchen with the Done Right Sauce. I think I have a bottle down here somewhere.
You do. It's
Can't see it right now.
It's over closer to me, but...
Because of this amazing Browns helmet signed by Josh Cribbs.
There you go. All right, let's get into some football topics because we are 2 weeks out from the draft, and it seems it doesn't matter what sports talk radio show you listen to right now, whether it's Fox, whether it's ESPN, whether it's Dan Patrick, whether it's any radio show right now. I listen to WGR out of Buffalo every day, and everybody's talking about these quarterbacks in the draft. So as I say that. Let me ask you this question. As I say that, How do you feel if you're Chubb or Barkley or one of these highly talented athletes that should be a top 3 draft pick, and all you're hearing talked about is quarterbacks?
You know what? 6-7 years ago, before the new CBA, I would have been upset. I would have been insulted. But right now, if I'm them, I'm thinking this is great because, the contracts between the number 1 and the number 5 pick, like the contracts are completely scaled, the rookie contracts, right? So like it's already predetermined what you're going to make at your position and where you're drafted.
Right.
So these guys, with the quarterbacks being inflated to the top, to the bad teams, and bad teams mean in most cases quarterback needy.
Right.
They just stand a better chance to go to a better team.
Right.
So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it's bothering them at all. The world knows right now that the value of a quarterback is inflated because it's the most important position by a landslide. It doesn't mean these quarterbacks are better at, running a franchise and being the face of a franchise than you are at, blocking people or running. But it's a good thing, really. I think if you're drafted in the first round, you're going to get that 5th-year option thing with your team. Your contract's predetermined, and you're not suffering much. I think they like it.
Good.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, it's funny when you look. 2 weeks ago, we did our FDS mock draft. Right, all together we sat together and we put together a mock draft. Our top 5 picks. What did we do? We ranked
4 of our top 5 are quarterbacks.
Yeah, we ranked the top 5 quarterbacks, didn't we?
Well, we settled on a top 10.
Oh, right,
in the
top
picks.
10. That's right. It was top 10, and that show actually is taken right off. Our YouTube numbers are great. Our
really
podcast numbers are really good. It really was a huge show for us, so that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But what's interesting in that show, we had a guy like Josh Rosen slid from a top 3 pick.
I was hard on him in that
you
show.
were.
I didn't like him at all. Yeah.
And I was giving all kinds of love to Allen. Chris was, giving all. Chris is with Lamar Jackson side of it.
Yeah,
right?
Jackson and Rosen. He liked those guys. Yeah.
But all of a sudden, here we are 2 weeks away from the draft, and not saying Allen's slipping yet, but there has been some articles coming out questioning him, and we'll get into that a little bit. But Rosen's on the rise here. Yeah. What do you think of what's going on with Rosen here over the last 2 weeks?
So I'm not guilt free on this, Ray, but like I think what a lot of people do, and shout out to our buddy Scotty Chisholm, who we're in multiple chats with him, and we talk draft with him on a daily basis. And I'm not razzing you, Scott, at all. Scott buys into the daily narrative a lot, and that's okay. And I mean, I don't know that he's doing it seriously or whatever. He's just sparking up conversation on that particular day. But every year things come full circle, right? Going into this draft, the top 2 quarterbacks, like 1A and 1B, the 2 top guys that you would have to choose from, was Darnold and Rosen.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Darnold fumbled a whole lot and disappointed, was supposed to be a Heisman candidate and wasn't there. And Rosen turned out to be a bit of a dink, a bit of a jerk, ordered a hot tub, posted, said derogatory things about Donald Trump, you name it. And all of a sudden things, these new people, these other guys that were kind of further down started coming up and getting evened out. But now we're seeing things go back to the norm. So everybody who was freaked out about Josh Allen's athleticism, his big arm, and all the potential there is finally going, all right, we're finished looking at the fact that he's 6'5", 235 pounds, whatever it is, and has a cannon arm, and we're going to start looking at the other stuff. And now we're starting to realize that, he doesn't throw with anticipation. Now he has a rocket launcher attached to his shoulder, so he doesn't really have to. He stares down receivers. He's not very refined. And people are starting to look at that, and they're starting to say, wow, this guy's way too big of a risk. As far as I'm concerned, Ray, everything comes full circle. And Rosen's climbing back up again because I actually think Jim Mora did him a bit of a favor saying, this kid's too smart.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because you can't be too smart. It's just not fair. Like, you know what? You can't be too smart to do something. you can be, this is an opinion I have anyways, Ray. Tell me what you think about it. You can't be too smart to do something, but you can be too smart to be doing something.
Right.
So I'll give you an example. If you have somebody who has a PhD in, astrophysics, or if that's even a thing, right? Like something crazy. Quantum physics, PhD in quantum physics. And that person is struggling day to day to make ends meet because they're working part-time at a, I don't know, car dealership?
Yeah.
Managing the parts? I don't know. That person's too smart to be doing that. But they're not too smart to do it. They're probably the best damn, parts man. I don't know why I just pulled that out. I think it's the ad on my screen right now. I don't know where I just came from that. Subaru has me thinking, and they're not a sponsor, but Subaru, if you want to give me a call. But anyway, you can be too smart to be doing something, but you can't be too smart to do something. And intelligence is paramount to be a quarterback. You can't be too smart. So he said that, and that drummed up so much press, and everybody talked about it. And it, of course, had a whole bunch of people raise the question, how the hell can you be too smart to be a quarterback? And you can't be. So now he's things are swinging around for him. He did that video with Aaron Rodgers, which was very good. When you surround yourself with that doesn't do anything but help you.
No, it did. And see, the funny thing about Rosen is since his name has been brought up in the draft, one of the biggest knocks on Rosen is, will this kid even be interested in football 3 years from now? They talk about the fact that he's going to come in and say, I don't like this play, I don't like that play, I don't like this offense, that he's going to be too judgmental. And one of the great things about that Aaron Rodgers segment, and it was only a 2-minute video, like it wasn't that long, but it showed how much this kid was interested in learning and coachable at the same time.
Right.
His agent played a big part in probably setting this video place take up, which I think is the biggest knock on Jackson, because Lamar Jackson, he doesn't have an agent.
Well, he does.
He does. He's got his mom.
Yeah.
But his mom doesn't have the connections or the abilities to be making this stuff happen for this kid. So what's happening is, what I see over the last couple of weeks, Darnold's still getting all kinds of, he's the cream of the crop of this draft class. Allen's still getting lots of positive feedback and some negative feedback. Rosen's on the rise. Mayfield's on the rise. And Lamar Jackson is staying stagnant. And I think the fact that he doesn't have an agent is definitely having an impact on that. What do you think?
I agree. And you know what? There's not having an agent, and then there's being represented by your mom.
Exactly.
And we all love our mom, but our moms don't only have our football interests in mind. Our moms have our entire being.
Yeah. Be careful, because your mom is listening.
I know.
This, so
and Mom, I'm telling you, you would be the greatest agent in the world when it comes to keeping me alive. I'm going to stop there. I want to thank you for that, for being my agent and getting me to this point. And,
all right, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Andy Jardine.
Yes.
Wearing, you want to go to the Browns.
Going to Cleveland.
And you want to go to the Browns, and you don't have an agent. You're the top, you're the second best quarterback coming into the draft.
Yeah.
Do you want your mom or your dad representing you?
My dad.
Your dad?
Yeah, my mom would be trying to figure out a career change to hockey so I could play for the Miramichi Timberwolves just so I could be at home. Yeah, dad.
Okay, dad. There you go.
100%.
Sorry, Sandra. Sorry.
I'm real sorry, Mom. And I don't want to make a habit of apologizing here, but if we have any car dealership parts managers listening to us, I wasn't trying to say I apologize for that. I have a Subaru ad in my face, and I was trying to figure out something to say that a quantum physicist might be too smart to be doing. My job counts on that too. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the draft and the fact that there's a lot. What's funny is, in the last couple of weeks, I've heard this go back and forth. 2 weeks ago, all I heard about was the Giants controlled what was going to happen in this draft.
Yeah.
Then I've heard it switch to Cleveland. Cleveland controls, and they should control. They got the 1st and 4th pick of this draft. how Cleveland ever lost control of the draft, I don't get it. But one of the teams that is really interesting heading into this draft is Brandon Beane and the Buffalo Bills. What are the Bills going to do heading into this year's draft? Are they going to be in there taking a big swing at a quarterback, or are they going to sit back and play patient like they did with signing A.J. McCarron? And let's talk a little Bills. Andy, first of all, I mean, and we've had numerous conversations with a lot of Bills fans and NFL junkies in the city of Moncton. There's a lot of different opinions out there. From a Cleveland Browns fan, what do you think about the Buffalo Bills heading into the draft?
I think that I think the Bills are in an extremely exciting position. I think both the Browns and the Giants control the draft. I don't think the Browns have any control over the draft in the first pick, other than the fact that there are some people out there that think that the Giants want one quarterback. And if that one quarterback doesn't get taken by the Browns, then they're taking a quarterback, which means they're not open to trading their pick.
Right.
That's where your Buffalo Bills come into play. So I have no inside information. I don't know Terry Pagula, and I haven't talked to your dad lately, so I haven't been able to get the inside scoop.
I know, we got to get in touch with him.
Because we know your dad sells the guy his tires, and they play canasta, and you name it, right? So he knows Pagula. I don't know Pagula. I can only tell you what I think they should do, and I can only tell you what it looks to me like they're gearing up to do, and I think it's plain and simple. You guys keep bragging over and over again about all this draft capital, all these draft picks that the Bills have accumulated. They have so many draft picks, they can control the draft. You guys were saying that when they had 2 picks in the 20s. My goodness, it was crazy. The Browns were picking 1 and 4, yet the Bills had all the draft capital, right? So anyways, and then their GM pulls a deal and trades up to number 12. And we're excited. We're thinking there's big things on the horizon. Immediately, lines are being drawn to the Eagles trade to get Wentz.
Yeah.
The double trade up. Everybody's like, the Bills are geniuses. They have everything's wonderful. And then all the Bills fans have completely lost their minds, I think, a little bit. So now everybody's going, oh my gosh, what are they doing? Talking about it on a daily basis, making their predictions, talking about what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, thinking that all these reports about what's out there, about what the Browns want, what the Giants want, what the Jets want, what the Broncos want, what the Dolphins want, all this stuff, they're reading this and they're buying it, right? Here's the thing. You don't know you do not know what any of these teams are going to do, and all these so-called experts that are reporting it, maybe 10% of that is true. It's all being fed to them from different places. It could be a player's agent that's feeding this to the media, trying to put their player into a better position when they don't know what the heck's going on. I'll give you an example. The current GM of the Browns, John Dorsey, he can't hide from the fact that the Browns need a quarterback in the first, right?
Right.
So he can't control all this fake narrative. Maybe some of it's real, maybe some of it's not, about the Browns and which quarterback they like.
Right.
But last year when he was with the Chiefs, he had Alex Smith to hide behind.
Yeah.
Nobody thought they needed a quarterback. And I can tell you can go back and you can look at news and rumors and everything like that. And if I'm wrong, somebody send me a direct message and send me a link to the story. There was nobody that was rumoring the Chiefs to trade up to get Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely.
Nobody knew that was happening. So what that tells me is my GM and many other ones are to keep things very close to the vest. None of this stuff is leaking. This stuff's coming out, and most of it's not true. So Bills fans are taking all of this and eating it up and going, oh my gosh, draft picks are so valuable. We ripped off the Cleveland Browns for that third-round pick for Tyrod Taylor. We're controlling the draft. Every pick we make we're going to nail it. That's going to be a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro, and everything's going to be great. And you're thinking, well, you know what? It's going to cost us way too many of those precious picks to move up and take these quarterbacks because there's no consensus number one, which I think is false, by the way.
Right.
And so let's just let somebody fall to us. And that's the main thing now is everybody thinks, well, Lamar Jackson's the guy we really like, and we think he'll fall to us at number 15. You tell me as a Bills fan where you're at, because I have a hard time keeping up with, what you guys are thinking. But as a Browns fan, my perspective is simple. If I eliminate everything you guys are saying and I just look at what your GM is doing, Your GM put himself in a position where he's desperate for a quarterback, and he showed his hand. He showed it with the first trade, and he's going to need to do a second trade. And unfortunately for you guys, and this is not bashing the Bills. It's not the Bills' fault that this happened.
Yeah.
But a team in your division called you and played a better hand and said, "Oh yeah," and the Jets moved up to number 3, and that did make your desperation go from so-so to absolute.
Absolute.
Your desperation is now absolute. So, as a Browns fan, here's what I'm thinking. You have to trade up. You have to get one of these top 4 quarterbacks. Yes, they are all rated somewhat closely. And whichever one you end up landing, you're going to be able to tell your media. You're going to be able to call all those guys, Sal, your buddy Sal, or whoever that guy, Sal Capaccio, Vic Carucci. You're going to be able to call those guys.
Joe Biscaglia.
All these guys, and you're going to be able to say that was our guy all along. And you know what? All 3 of them are going to believe you. And if that guy turns out to be good, your job is set for 10 years and you're a genius. That's going to be able to have. If you don't do that, if you somehow think that Lamar Jackson is the answer for your franchise, but you're the only one who knows it, so you're going to sit and stew at number 12 and wait for him to drop for you so that you can pick him. If you think he's that good, someone else does too. Whether you're both wrong or you're both right. And there's a slew of 5 picks in front of you, including a division rival who also could benefit from a quarterback right in front of you, the Miami Dolphins, that are probably or potentially thinking that too. You can't sit pat. All that draft capital that you love, I hope very much, and I'm predicting, by the way, spoiler alert on my draft next week. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but there's going to be a big trade up. You guys are going to trade up for a quarterback.
They have to. They have to trade up. And I it's been an interesting week because Richie Incognito announced that he was going to retire. Now we've got some Bills fans, even local Bills fans here, that are going, "Hey, we can't waste our draft capital because we've got so many holes to fill." I completely disagree. We are not going to win the Super Bowl in 2018. Bills fans, just so you know, we are not winning the Super Bowl this year. And most likely, we are not winning the Super Bowl next year. We are playing for 2020. That's my mindset. Let's go out and get the quarterback. I don't care what it costs. Go get the quarterback. We have not had a quarterback. I mean a real quarterback. And I'm going back to Doug Flutie's days. Playing for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
It's been the number one thing that has hurt this franchise. We've had great defenses. We've had a good running game. We've had this. We haven't had strong quarterback play. There's some Tyrod Taylor fans out there that would argue with me about that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Tyrod is a good quarterback. He's not the quarterback that's going to take you to the Super Bowl. He's not.
I agree with you, Ray. Tyrod is a Brown right now, and I'm excited to see what Tyrod Taylor can do. But I'm going to be honest with you, being friends with you guys as long as I have been and following the Bills because of you guys, I can tell you, man, the quarterback in the last, my gosh, since I've known you that I've been more excited about than any is Orton.
Yeah. Kyle
Like,
Orton.
seriously, like he's the guy that I actually thought could do something. Tyrod, I think he's a solid quarterback, but I have to agree with you. I wouldn't just, say that we're only playing for 2020. I think there's an opportunity for you guys to not regress too much. But I think, number one, let's remind everybody that, and we don't know this, we listen to experts, but I listen to the same experts on an annual basis for 15 years, right? And I trust some of them because I look back at what they said, and either they're always right or they're always wrong, or they at least have somewhat of a good track record. And there's these 2 guys that run a podcast called Move the Sticks, and they're former scouts, and they know what it takes to scout players. They scout players every year, and they said, "Man, you should see the quarterback class for 2019."
Yeah.
It's worse than the Geno Smith quarterback. Like, this is the quarterback class, and there's nothing
gotta
next
go get
year.
one.
So this is the year to do it, even if you're not completely committed. So, this is the year to do it. You've got all the tools to do it. And here's the thing, Ray, and let me give the Eagles example super quick, right? So about 2 years ago today, maybe a couple weeks from now, 2 years ago, the Philadelphia Eagles secured their trade up to the number 2 pick with the Cleveland Browns. Everybody knew the Rams were going to take Jared Goff, so everybody knew. They just traded up number 2 to get Carson Wentz, and they were roasted for it. They were torched. They were like, oh my gosh, you just signed Sam Bradford to a giant deal. You just made Chase Daniel the number 1 paid backup in the entire league, and then you just gave all those picks to the Cleveland Browns to draft a kid who played Division II for North Dakota State, and they were ridiculed. 2 years later, that GM is the best GM in the NFL.
In the league.
He has a Super Bowl ring now.
Yeah.
Nobody even remembers what they gave up for Carson Wentz. Nobody even remembers what the Sam Bradford contract is. And nobody even remembers Chase Daniel was ever on that team.
Yeah.
If you get it right, it doesn't matter how you got there. And this is the year the Bills have to go get it. And just to the Richie Incognito thing, Ray, Richie Incognito is a pretty solid guard. But guys, come on. All right. The Browns lost Joe Thomas, Hall of Fame left tackle. That's about here. The New England Patriots, their left tackle, their steady left tackle, Nate Solder, he walked in free agency. That's about here. Richie Incognito leaving the Bills.
It's gone. It's gone.
It's just not registering on the radar, guys. Like, you don't change your draft plans because Richie Incognito retired.
You don't. You
Sorry.
don't. All right, let's get into some other. I agree with you. I again, the Richie Incognito. I keep saying the guy's going to be 35 to start this season. I'm not changing my mindset as an organization because Incognito pulled a stunt and wants to retire.
And is now incognito.
So be it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a couple other things. So, New England Patriots. New England Patriots traded Brandon Cooks to the Rams for a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
Good move for them because he's got 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah.
Great move for the Patriots. It's been their best move off season.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's talks, though, that the Patriots have 2 first-rounders and could move into the top 5 for one of these quarterbacks. And I tell people, you're nuts.
Yeah.
These teams are not going to trade back. Like, there's been talks that the Bills got to trade up again from the 12th spot. There's nobody going back to the 23rd pick with the Patriots to make a deal. What do you think about this?
I agree with you. Even the Browns at number 4, if the Bills call because their guy is still there, I don't know that the Browns are going to be willing to go all the way to 12. Like, you guys are going to have to pay. I don't know that there's a price to pay with the Browns specifically because they have too many draft picks as it is. Dropping all the way to 12 might be too much for some of these top 5 teams. The Patriots picks, no. Like,
It's not happening.
No, I saw 4 or 5 tweets while we were prepping for the show that was linking the Patriots very aggressively to Lamar Jackson. That's probably the most realistic one, but even like I've been saying to you, I don't even see Lamar Jackson surviving past the top 10. So I think people are overreacting a little bit to the Patriots, like, oh, they're so desperate to find the next Jimmy G and they're gonna trade up and get a guy. I don't think so. I think they're just looking to restock the young player and low contracts. I think they might actually sit back. I think they'll trade those picks, but nothing crazy. They might move up 2 and down 3 or something like that. They're not like, come on. The Patriots are not getting Baker Mayfield, guys. If they do, I'll whatever those hot wings or whatever I'm going to eat. If I'm wrong I'll eat like double. I'll eat double.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We've got a big challenge going on here in this podcast tonight. I don't know how our podcast listeners are or viewers are right now on Facebook. We decided last minute to go live on Facebook.
Yeah, I can't even tell now.
But my snaps are getting huge attention here since we started this. And I'm watching the computer. I'm getting lots of comments and likes on my snaps right now.
I don't think you posted your newest one, but you showed it to me when I got here after work, and that's. Yeah, that's
all
taking
right.
it to a whole new level, that one.
So. OBJ, we are going to talk about that, but
That's another one for the Patriots. Everybody said, hey, what do the Giants want for OBJ? 2 first-round picks? What do the Patriots have now? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So that's not happening.
No.
OBJ is going to be back with the Giants in 2018. That's my prediction. Nobody's going to take this guy on with the risks, knowing that at the end of the season, you're looking at a $20 million bill to sign this guy.
Yeah, I don't think you trade for him unless you agree in principle with his agent and him on the extension. And and you're right, the franchise tag is the starting point of the conversation for the extension. Yeah. Like, you can look at what the Browns end up giving Jarvis Landry and, like, I don't know, add $4 million a year to that.
Yeah.
And that's the starting point probably. So it's pretty, I think the Giants are crazy to let him go. And the team is probably crazy. I don't want to say they're crazy to trade for him, my goodness, but I just can't. I can't see either side. Like I can't see either side working out. I can't see the Giants letting him go unless it's for way too much.
Yeah, and
there's too many character risks for somebody to pay way too much.
Exactly. All right, let's get into some odds and ends, and our odds and ends are going to be a little bit different this week because we are actually going to be talking some odds. So there's all kinds of rumors going around the draft right now, and there's talks about Buffalo getting into the first pick of the draft, the Giants getting into the first pick, Denver's looking at getting into the first pick of the draft. Andy, what are the odds that Cleveland trades out of the first round pick of this draft?
Of the number one pick?
Of the number one pick.
I honestly, Ray, think that the odds are zero.
Zero. You don't think there's one Dorsey? You don't think there's one offer that he would even consider for that first round pick?
I'll give you an example. Let's say the Giants want to move from 2 to 1 to make sure they get their quarterback.
Yeah.
The only way the Browns would do that, in my opinion, is if they knew that the guy the Giants want is not the guy they were going to take at 1. Okay. So if that's the case and you move from 2 to 1, like the price tag to do that is almost nothing. Like they would be picking up like a 5th round pick to do that, and they don't need the 5th round pick. And the Giants don't have to tell you the truth.
Right.
So if they tell you, yeah, we're coming up to take Josh Allen, here's a 5th round pick to swap places with us, the risk of them saying screw you and taking Darnold is greater than the value of that 5th round pick.
Yeah.
I think there's a 0 chance the Browns move out of 1. 0 chance. Yeah.
I can never go 0, so I'll go 99.99%. I think Cleveland will be using that first round pick, but I'm going to give a little 0.99% there.
Well, just like Ray Dunn, don't ever say Ray Dunn, don't bend.
Yeah.
Don't ever say Andy, don't bend.
All right.
I'm going to go 99.99% sure it doesn't happen as well. I'm going to change my mind on that.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
All right. What's the odds that Darnold goes first overall to the Cleveland Browns?
Whew. I want to say 100%. I even want to say 90%, but it's hard. The Browns have been linked. Dorsey's been linked to our GM. Dorsey has been linked to Allen from the start. Like even before he was hired by the Browns, everybody was saying John Dorsey's out there. He's studying film. He's going to get a GM job, and Josh Allen is the type of quarterback that he loves. He traded up for Mahomes. He had Brett Favre at the Packers. Like he's that kind of guy. So he's been linked to him from the start. So because of that, I'm going to say the odds of Darnold being the number 1 overall pick, I'll be conservative and say 75%.
75%. I'm kind of leaning at 60% right now.
Okay.
There's just been too much talk about Allen. Allen's name's been mentioned a lot at the first round. And what's interesting, Rosen's name hasn't until today. Today was my first mock draft I saw where Rosen was selected first overall. I have seen Mayfield's name mentioned first overall.
Yeah.
But I really think this first round pick comes down to Allen or Darnold first overall.
I think so. And I'll be floored if it's not Darnold. I don't think our GM leaks anything. I think anything that's out there about the Browns right now is smoke.
Okay.
Or false narratives or agents spreading rumors. I'll be floored if it's not Darnold. But if it isn't Darnold and it's Allen, then I will trust in the fact that it was always going to be Allen. They truly do think he's the best guy. I do trust Tyrod Taylor to at least hold down the 2018 season while the kid learns to look off receivers and do correct the issues that people are bashing him for.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be upset about it. But to me, Darnold is the guy.
Okay. Let's talk. Here's a big one for you.
Okay.
What's the odds of the top 5 quarterbacks going in the top 10 picks?
Yeah. This is a good one. How about I turn that question around on you with the way I formulated it?
Okay.
A little over under action for you. You're in Vegas. You got $1,000 in your hand and you have to make a bet on this. And the over under on number of quarterbacks taken in the first round is set at 5.5. Are you going over or are you going under?
5.5 in the first round?
First round. First 32 picks, first round. 5.5.
I'm going to go over on that.
You're going to go over.
I'm going to go over on that.
So the sixth quarterback would be?
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph's going to go late in the first round, and I wouldn't be surprised to see New England grab Mason Rudolph later in the first round.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going over on that. $1,000 in Vegas. You're going over on that. Good
I'm going
stuff.
over right now.
How about I give you another quick over-under that's very close to your heart?
Okay.
All right. The Bills currently have 2 first-round picks in the draft.
Yeah.
The over-under on the number of picks that the Bills actually make in the first round of this draft is set at 1.5. Are you taking the over or the under?
Ooh. Well, that all depends. I mean, that depends on if they're going up to 2 or if they're going to go to 6. Because if they trade into 6 with Indy, they'll get one of those first-round picks. They'll get 2 picks in the first round.
Remember, there's a premium on the price for a quarterback.
I totally get
so
it.
Even
I
if
totally
you're,
get it.
So even if you're going to 6 and you're
you
desperate to do it, you're probably giving up those 2 first
No,
rounds.
I don't think they will.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
think
either
they
way,
will.
we don't know which way they're going to have to go.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you right now, you're in Vegas, that same $1,000, a new $1,000 in your hand because you already, bet the first $1,000 on the over. You got another $1,000 and you have to bet Bills over and under, first round picks, your feet are to the fire, 1.5, over or under.
I have to go under on this
You're going
because I want the Bills to go up to number 2. I want the Bills to get up to number 2, get the guy they want, and like I said, I don't care what it costs. Go get your guy.
I'm running to the sports book, betting the under, and then I'm running to find another one and betting the under there too.
Okay, so here we go. I mean, that takes away 2 of mine here. My last one is this.
Okay.
In the most recent PFF mock draft, Pro Fantasy Football mock draft.
Pro Football Focus.
Okay.
The
Pro
stats
football.
guys, right?
Yeah, the stats guys.
Yep.
They have Josh Allen slipping to pick 40 to Denver in the second round. Now, their whole mock draft is a little crazy.
Yeah.
What are the odds of Josh Allen slipping to the second? Forget about Allen. What's the odds of any of these top 5 quarterbacks slipping to the second round of this NFL draft?
Oh my gosh. Barring a gas mask video, I'm going to say 2%. There's a chance Jackson slips into the second round if these other teams, if let's say there's 5 super needy quarterback teams that we're identifying right now. Let's say 2 of them don't like Jackson and 3 of them make moves up and do what they need to do. There's a bit of a chance that he slips into the second round, but I mean, it is super remote. All I
keep thinking about heading into this draft is Brady Quinn and remembering his face as he slid all the way down. What did he go? 20th pick over?
22.
22.
He didn't slide as far as Aaron Rodgers, by the way.
He didn't, but
he took it less gracefully.
He was
less
chewing
gracefully.
gum
the whole time.
Him and his girlfriend broke up at the draft. But that's my only concern is if we're going to see another Brady Quinn moment. Because I'll tell you one thing, with all the hype around these quarterbacks, it could very easily happen. It could very easily happen that one of these guys slides all the way down the board.
Yeah, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater almost made it to the second round that time. Though he had a catastrophic pro day. Like, none of these guys have really shot themselves in the foot.
There are many of these mock drafts, and I know you've done we talked about this a little bit off air. Andy's done his work. I've done my work on mock drafts. And how many mock drafts have you seen Mason Rudolph drafted before a lot of these quarterbacks?
Before the big Big Five?
Before the Big Five, how many have you seen Mason Rudolph in that top 5?
So I don't know the exact number, Ray, but I'll tell you, and I was disclosing this to you, I have a spreadsheet with 62 mock the data from 62 mock drafts accumulated, and I can tell you that I don't know that there's one that Rudolph was taken before the Big Four. And there might have been 2, maybe 3, where Mason Rudolph was taken before Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, there's a few where he's picked.
The PFF draft is in my spreadsheet, so I know there's one.
Yeah, there's one.
That's probably it. So
yeah. All right, so that's my odds. Do you have any other odds over there?
That's all I had for our sports betting odds. That's it.
All right.
That's it.
Well, that's 45 minutes of football talk, Andy.
And our countdown is on. Actually, let me ask you this one last one, just to stir up a little bit of crap with the Bills fans. Ray, if Lamar Jackson doesn't go and the 11th pick comes in the draft and the Miami Dolphins are on the clock and the Buffalo Bills are sitting there going, ooh, boy, Lamar Jackson, one more pick. What are the odds that he actually gets to you?
Doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
No, I agree.
When you look at Lamar Jackson, and again, it's a very quiet campaign that he's running heading into this draft. Again, I don't know if it's him, his mother, or whatever the case may be. He's got a lot of ties to Miami. And more ties have been released over the last few weeks. Miami wants this kid. They're flying under the radar right now. Miami's name's not even being mentioned in the top 4 QBs. Miami is praying that Lamar Jackson slides to number 11. That's my opinion.
I have to agree with you. I don't even think he makes it to 11 for the Dolphins, but if he does, I can't see it.
Well, I think the team that the Dolphins have to pay attention to is Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona would love a Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Exciting, that Michael Vick 2.0, the whole thing.
Hey, the Patriots are linked to him now too.
Yeah, but again, the Patriots just don't have enough to get down there. They're hoping he slides to 15, the Patriots.
Yeah.
It's not happening. I see this kid either ending up in, he could end up in Buffalo, who knows, but I see this kid going to Miami or Arizona, coming in and grabbing this kid. Those are the 2 places I see this kid going.
Yep. All right.
All right. Well, Andy, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
We talked a lot of NFL draft, but I don't want to forget about some of the local sports that's happening. Shout out to Corey Lorette for reminding me of this. But, the Moncton Mustangs are starting their training camp tomorrow. At Rocky Stone.
Yeah.
So the season is getting underway, or at least training camp is starting now. I'm not really sure how it works, if they take a big break after training camp before the season starts. But
they have April 28th. The Mustangs have their red and black game. Mm-hmm. This is the last scrimmage game they play. Final cuts are made in this game. I have volunteered to go out and work this game, and I can promise you, Corey Lorette's going to have a flag on him for something.
April 28th, Ray Dunn has volunteered to go ref. I'm going to remind him the decision that he made, because Mustangs, you should be very, very impressed with the fact that this is happening. April 28th is actually day 3 of the NFL draft, when the coverage starts at noon.
Yeah.
So Ray and his precious Bills, who have all this draft capital to make all these picks that are going to change the franchise forever and probably win a Super Bowl next year, he's not going to get to watch any of that. He's going to be watching the red versus black game. Moncton Mustangs at Rocky Stone, not far from here. Good on you, Ray.
Yeah, well, I want to go over and check it out off season. I don't know how many regular season games I'm going to get to do this year. I'm hoping week 1 of the regular season they're playing against the St. John Wanderers, the team they beat in the finals last year, and I'm hoping maybe our podcast can go live for the game 1, and maybe we can interview a few of the Mustangs and get a few of the Wanderers up there. That'd be great.
Absolutely. I think we need a little live.
We'll be talking
live Mustangs coverage.
We'll be talking to Jason Terrace about that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you got?
That's all I got. What do you got?
Well, one big thing we talked about.
Your brother-in-law Albert speaking some wisdom in the chat. I need him to talk to your brother. He's saying Arizona will take Lamar Jackson before the Dolphins get a chance.
Well, that's what I just said.
See, that's what I mean. There's a lot of knowledge in your family right now. We know where the gap is.
Yeah.
Fix it.
Absolutely. I don't know how to fix that. We've been working on that for 45 years.
We only fix kitchens around here.
Only fix kitchens. Of course, we got to send out a strong message to the Humboldt Broncos. That was sad news from earlier this week. Stuff you do not want to, watching TSN this week, and I forget the girl's name, the anchor that had to announce all the players' names and the coaches. I mean, it was hard to watch, really hard to watch, and That's really tough.
Horrible.
Tough news.
Words can't describe, so I won't even try, but it's awful. Leave your sticks out on the step, guys.
Yeah. And your microphone.
And your microphone,
and
whatever
your microphone.
you have. If you don't have either one of those, find something.
The Masters was this past weekend, and Patrick Reed won the Masters. And here's the interesting: after the 2016 Ryder Cup, he played so fantastic in that Ryder Cup, especially against Rory McIlroy. I selected him to win the Masters last year. 1 year later, he won the Masters this year. So if you guys want to know who I selected the U.S. Open, who I selected for the Open Championship, who I selected to win the Stanley Cup, the Super Bowl, all in last year, you might want to contact me because those picks could be worth money if they all happen this year.
You heard it here.
Right there. Here's one interesting thing is it came out that after Patrick Reed won the Masters, it came out that he has been estranged from his family for 4 years now. He has no relationship with his parents or sister whatsoever. Apparently, they didn't appreciate that he was getting married to the person he was getting married to at such a young age, and he hasn't spoken to his father in 4 years. So I got thinking about this, and I thought to myself, this guy has cut his father out of his life, and he just won the Masters. I'm a back-to-back men's champion at Mountain Woods Men's Night.
Right.
And I've decided that this year I want to go for the club championship. Not just the men's night championship, but I want to go for the club championship. And I think in order to do that, I'm going to take Patrick Reed's advice. And my father, he's done. I'm not talking to my father anymore. He's out. So I know you're listening, Dad. I know this is probably not the best way for me to announce it to you, but you're no longer my father. You're no longer my father.
And just remember, it's not you, it's him.
Yeah, it's me. I want to win the championship.
Yeah,
after I win the championship, maybe we could talk down the road.
It's back on.
But for now, don't call me. Don't email me. This is it. All right?
If you get any inside scoop from Pagula, you can email me.
Yeah.
I'll get it to him.
Andy wants to hear from you.
Yeah.
Andy wants to hear from you. All right, guys, that's our show for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. I know this was kind of a last-minute thing. We've been wanting to get back in touch with you. We haven't done a show for 2 weeks, but we wanted to get some content out to you. It's an exciting time. The draft's in 2 weeks, and we will be back next week. Andy, me, and Chris will be laying out our individual top 15 mock drafts, and the loser at the end of the actual draft is going to have something on the line that they're going to have to do something they don't want to do.
Yep, right on the show, and then finish the rest of the show after suffering those consequences. We're all going to pick our top 15 with trades. We're going to get points for picking the right player in the right spot. And we're going to get points for picking the right team taking that player in that spot. That's how we give you credit for calling trades correctly and penalize you for calling the trades wrong.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I plan to win 62 mock drafts in my spreadsheet. The analytics.
There you go.
Yeah.
Have a great week, guys.
See you guys.
I think she might know,
Like this has.
but she never told me so. She called her daddy back. He had a heart attack, and it's up and down. They're really getting down. It's not the neon lights